Welcome to ItsPayd Live. I'm your host, Ken Green. We are welcomed today by our guest, Ed Bilat from Storytelling Sales. Welcome, Ed.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing well, and yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Great. Ed is gracious enough to join us. He is in Ottawa, Canada. Ed, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, Ken. Well, first of all, I was really humbled by your request to join the podcast, and I truly appreciate this opportunity to share on business storytelling today. As for myself, my company is storytellingsales.com. I started this company about 4 years ago with a mission of helping sales teams and business owners around the world to close the gap, the sales gap, in generating more revenue and actually making sales more human. And more fun through the power of storytelling. I've been in the sales and business development for the last 24 years. And before starting this company, I've been a cold caller, telemarketing agent, sales manager, account executive, director, a vice president. And along that journey, I made every possible mistake. So with a variety of industries, telecommunication, wireless, software, optics, high-tech industries. So I closed deals. I think the lowest was $17, all the way to multi-million-dollar deals with the companies like HP and Walmart. What else can I tell you?
No, just I appreciate that. You know, it's interesting, Ed, that we actually have a mutual friend. A previous guest of ours, Scott Reese from Cornerstone, actually was on, and that's exactly how we kind of somehow or another got connected. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. On a personal note, I came to the United States in 1994 from Eastern Europe with $5 in my pocket. I was able to win a scholarship, and they sent me to Mobile, Alabama, so where I did my bachelor degree, and then I did my master's degree. So I've met Scott through the company called Zante, where we work together. So this is our sweet home Alabama connection.
Wonderful. So you actually came from Europe, came to the United States, you say, with $5 in your pocket, and now you run an organization called Storytelling Sales. I beg your pardon. Tell us a little bit about Storytelling Sales, and how did you get to start that?
Yes, so that actually happened to me, and it happened in the most strange place. About 17 years ago, my poor old Honda died in the middle of the road, and I was able to push it off the road to a Tim Hortons parking lot. And as you probably know, this is an iconic brand for Canadian fast food. So, and while I'm waiting for my mechanic friend to come over and help me out, I'm sitting and making cold calls. And they're truly cold calls because it's December 19th. It's Ottawa, Canada. It's about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I guess I could go inside the Tim Hortons, but I didn't want my prospects to hear the background noise, to hear like people ordering coffee. So I keep sitting in the frozen car and calling and calling. And the other reason I don't go inside is because I'm extremely stressed. It's my first job in Canada. It took me 9 months to get it. And here we go, like 3 months in the job, I'm extremely low on my numbers. And it's December 19th. Whom are you going to close in Ottawa, Canada on December 19th? So I look through the frozen window. I see people enjoying coffee. I see cars full of gift boxes and friends. But I cannot enjoy any of it because I'm on a sales job. I got to close. And I got to do something. And I have only one hope. There's one guy, his name is David Smythe. He's the general manager of Lord Elgin Hotel. Like I know they may have a need, so I keep calling and calling. So finally he picks up. And this is how our conversation goes. Good morning, Mr. Smythe. This is Ed Bilat calling from the wireless business solutions of TELUS. How are you doing today? And then he goes, Ed from TELUS? Let me stop you right there. First of all, where did you get my cell number? Second, it doesn't matter because you called me 5 times this morning, and while I appreciate your persistence, it's annoying and it's not business-like at all. Third, there is no way we're switching our wireless providers because 3 months ago we signed a contract with Bell and it's a 4-year contract, right? Fourth, I don't really like your company because your phones don't work by my cottage. Ed, are you still there? And at this point, I'm done, right? So because he gave me all these 5 objections, I don't know what to say. I just say, yes, Mr. Smythe, I'm still here. And he says, listen, in addition to calling me 5 times, you also sent me about 10 emails this week. And I see that in your signature, you have a degree from the University of South Alabama. And then I'm talking to you, you certainly don't sound like a guy from Mobile, Alabama. What's your story? Can you even say y'all? And I say, yes, sir. Y'all come on back now. You here? So he laughs, and then he says, listen, it's Christmas. Why don't you come to my hotel tomorrow at 10 o'clock? We'll go for a coffee. You tell me your story in person. And I did. And the rest was history. And not only I was able to earn his business, David has actually introduced me to the entire Ottawa hotel network. And one by one, I started closing Lord Elgin, Sheraton, Novotel, Brook Street, Holiday Inns, Radisson. They all became my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I was spending a lot of time thinking how that nightmare phone call became the best call I ever made. So this is what originated the basis for the methodology. And this is what I'd love to share with the sales reps, account managers, anybody who is struggling. This is extremely powerful and very easy, natural tool to use.
Mm-hmm.
One answer, this is how I started.
Uh-huh. No, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating story. I mean, and that's how it initially started. And then when did you actually create the company Storytelling Sales?
I started company 4 years ago.
Okay.
After closing several major deals, I just realized how much potential in this and how easy and natural to teach people, because everybody has a story. Everybody has a unique voice. It's probably one of the most natural techniques and methodologies you can learn.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just getting ready here. Hang on just a second. We got a little technical issue I'm working with. I beg your pardon. Oh, just that. Okay, thank you so much. My producer here, Matt's helping me out here. So, you're talking about a natural way of doing sales, and obviously it's storytelling. And you actually talking about your story, kind of captivated me as well. What are some I guess some mistakes that owners and salespeople make, when they go to sales? And I know you talked about what your experience was, but what are some of the common ones that owners and salespeople make, and how would you go about to tell them how to avoid it?
Well, there's always a room for improvement, right? But then working with clients, there's a couple of ones I see all the time, right? So the first one that comes to mind is probably being too rigid with the sales process. And what I mean by that, like 2 weeks ago, we were working with a software company. It's a SaaS model. They have about 40 people in outbound capacity. And prior to doing the training, they showed me the script, right? So like how do they actually, what do they do on the demo for the software? Mm-hmm. And the script goes like that. Introduction, 30 seconds. Company mission statement, 20 seconds. Qualification, 1 minute. Product demos and features, 40 minutes. Closing, 5 minutes. And then you move on, right? So that the typical mistake is being too rigid with the process and not allowing enough time to build trust, to actually being able to communicate as humans, not as robots, right? So like you want to buy, no, see you later, right? And this way the conversation starts, the dialogue starts, and it's moving forward naturally and organically, right? So that's one, right? The second one, probably taking sales objections too personally, right? Like for example, I had a client, he's a tax lawyer, extremely smart individual. And then when we started working, he says, I don't want to chase these guys anymore. And I say, why? He says, because they don't like me. Okay, can you tell me more? Like, why do you think they don't like me? Because every time we talk, they always respond, they need to think about it. And it's important to understand that then when they give an objection, it's actually a good thing, right? Because if they're not interested, they would just leave, right? But they're not rejecting you as a human being. They enjoy maybe a proposed course of action, right, or an idea, but they're not rejecting you as an individual, as a human being, right? So then if you stay too close, you don't seem to be able to see that it's actually a communication. It's a way to start a dialogue, right? And just don't be too personal. And the last one is probably the main one, right? So then a lot of people trying to pretend to be somebody else, and they hide their own unique voice, because all of us, we all have great stories to tell. We just need to find them, right? And this way, sales would not be perceived as a manipulation game. It will be more as a conversation.
No, you bring up some good points there in terms of telling a story. Could you give some tips and suggestions on how salespeople, as well as business owners, can take from you on how to develop their own storytelling sales, or their own stories, so they can utilize that to kind of share that information, with their prospects?
Sure. One of the main thing when we start the training program or just initial discussion is this idea of building a story library, right? So then, for example, say you're a small business owner, we have 10, 15 salespeople, right? That means you have hundreds and hundreds of stories which already exist, right? It's just that they've never been collected or assembled in one central place. So, and what we're trying to do is to build a library that on any given moment, anybody on your team can go and borrow a book from that library, right? So instead of like saying, like for example, it's an objection handling technique, and you're saying, "Don't worry, like I'm gonna take care of you. You're in the good hands. Like you'll never regret that decision." You say, "Listen, everybody is unique. In the past, we had a situation just like yours. Like 3 months ago, we were working with a retailer, right, or pharmaceutical client, and this is what the situation was. This is what we've done. I do not know if this story is going to work for you or not, right? But you tell me." And this is a way more human approach, right? And the library will start working for everybody. If you have somebody new on the team, they just joined, and they say, "Well, I don't know, I don't have any stories," they can go to your library and borrow that book. And as long as they're able to articulate and tell the story, all right, it's going to work, and it will be authentic. So that probably would be my suggestions.
Okay, no. I think it's a wonderful suggestion. I mean, oftentimes when a salesperson or a business owner receives an objection from a prospect, obviously it's almost kind of like a bullet point of answers that they give on how to overcome that objection. What you're saying is, instead of going to the bullet points, use an example and turn that into a story and share that story with the person that's presenting the objection. Correct?
Yeah, that's right. And it's a way more natural. It's called 911 objection handling technique, right? So when first of all, you acknowledge the objection, instead of saying, don't worry about it, right? You're saying, okay, it's a valid objection. I understand what you're saying. If I were you, I would probably do the same thing. Then that's the first step. The second step is, this is where you go to the library and you say, "Listen, in the past, I had a situation similar to that, or we worked with a client just like that." Right, and then the third step, you describe the end results.
Got it.
So 1, 2, 3. Another combination, probably a lot of people heard about feel, felt, found, right? So it's a variation of it. I understand how you feel. This is what my clients felt before they found, right? So feel, felt, found. It's a 3-step technique, same thing. Storytelling here would be on the second step, right? And if you have the library, this is where it's really going to help.
Got it. In terms of structuring the story itself, are there specific ways that a story should be structured so that the message gets conveyed appropriately?
Yeah, absolutely. There's different techniques and different acronyms you can remember, right? So if you can remember 5 words, there's one technique. If you can remember 4 words, is another one. For example, one of them is called STAR, right? STAR. So every story should have an S, which is a situation, right? So what happened, you describe the situation. Then trouble, T for trouble, right? Like why was it threatening? What was the danger? What you've done? Then A for action, and then R for results, right? STAR technique. So that's easy to remember. But typically, it's a natural flow. Like you describe any technique or you describe any situation. This is the settings. These are the characters. Now this is what they normally do. This is what, this is where the trouble came. This was the action, and this is the end result, right? But it doesn't have to be a hero journey all the time. Natural, small stories, as long as they're vivid and repeatable, it's gonna work.
Got it. You're just so for audience to know that Ed obviously is in Canada. He's and it's cold there, and he's going to be coming down to San Diego in a few weeks, to the nice sunny San Diego, to do a private conference for one of his clients. You had mentioned earlier before we started the program, there's about 300 people going to be joining that. Is that correct?
Is that correct?
There will be about 400 people, and ironically, but it's not ironically, we're focusing on storytelling and objection handling, which is the main thing, to overcome fear of rejection, to eliminate the stress. So we'll be large clients, but after the event, I will be staying in the area for a couple of days. So certainly will be a few meetings. Would like to connect with the business community and see this beautiful city. So San Diego is always on my mind. So I really love to explore more.
Oh, that's great. Any other upcoming events that you're going to be having, Ed, or anything you'd like to share with us with storytelling sales that our audience can go to and look at specifically?
Yes. So specifically, my website, storytellingsales.com. Right. So if you go there, there's currently a book, my book, which is available for free for anybody who is interested, and it sort of gives a directional points how you can start with storytelling, and then you can variety of information you can find. Please feel free to contact me. There will be information available. I live and breathe on LinkedIn, so easy to find. I'm a lion, so I'm accepting everybody's connections. But please mention this podcast when connecting with me, so I know you specifically from San Diego, my favorite city.
Wonderful. Just so our audience knows that we did make Ed's information available. Not only did we put his website there, we also put his email address. So if you need to contact him directly, you can email Ed directly, as well as his LinkedIn contact information. So please contact him, or please connect with him directly. And certainly if any of our audience members are in San Diego, could you tell us when you're going to be in San Diego, Ed?
I'm arriving on January 31st, and I will be there for 4 days after that.
Okay, so if anyone's interested in meeting Ed between January 31st and February the 3rd or 4th, reach out to Ed directly and schedule time with him. Ed, any other parting words of wisdom or advice you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite sayings is from late American author and poet Maya Angelou. And I think I've seen that quote a long time ago, but specifically for storytelling, I think it goes really well that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel, right? And there's been a lot of research done on that, right? And then you're telling the story that the brain of the storyteller and the brain of the listener, they lighten up in the same fashion. So like it's a truly miracle how we can communicate, and we've been doing this for millions of years. So certainly it's a great tool. I'm happy to share with everybody.
Great.
Thank you.
Ed,
we're just having a little bit of feedback issue, but thank you so much for being our guest on ItsPayd Live. We appreciate your joining us today, and to our audience, thank you so much for listening. Again, we've got Ed's information available on the link below. Please click it. Thanks so much, Ed. Have a great day, and thanks for our audience. We'll see you in our next edition of ItsPayd Live.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.